our fellow Americans.
Right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are available to millions of Americans.
And soon, they will be available to everyone.
The science is clear. These vaccines will protect you and those you love from this dangerous and deadly disease.
They could save your life.
So we urge you to get vaccinated when it's available to you.
That's the first step to ending the pandemic and moving our country forward. It's up to you.
Coping with COVID. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Good Thursday afternoon to you. I'm Tre Tailor, and welcome to Coping with COVID. Well, this fall, Columbia, South Carolina residents will choose a new leader. We've spoken to two of the people vying for the role of mayor of the city of Columbia, and today we'll talk to the third. Daniel Rickenman joins us to tell us why he wants to be mayor of the city of Columbia and what he plans to do. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Tre, for having me.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Always.
Thanks a lot. That and more coming up next on Coping with COVID, but first, your COVID community updates. Howard University will name its newly reestablished College of Fine Arts after the late actor Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther star, succumbed last year to cancer at the age of 43 and graduated from the HBCU in 2000. It was announced in May that actress Felicia Rashad will serve as dean of the new College of Fine Arts. She also attended Howard University. If you did or will get your COVID vaccine at CVS, you qualify for some pretty cool gifts. Gift cards, cruises, cash, and trips are included in the One Step Closer sweepstakes for those 18 and older. Now, you can register beginning June 7th through July 10th at cvs.com/One Step Closer sweeps. You can see the information on the screen. And Lake Murray will open for recreational activities beginning next month, beginning June 7th through Labor Day. A limited number of visitors and a maximum of 100 vehicles will be allowed. Parking is $5 and $50 for a season pass. The boat launch has been open throughout the pandemic. Check the scroll at the bottom of the screen for information about COVID testing, vaccinations, and more, which will be scrolling throughout the show. You can check that out. We're going to tell you a couple of things right now. SCDHEC continues their ongoing COVID testing and vaccination. For the most up-to-date list, visit scdheck.gov. Also, Lexington Medical Center vaccine information is going on. They've got walk-in clinics, including the one at Brooklyn Baptist Church, and the Columbia Place Mall vaccination clinic. If we could get that information up and not to go get tested stuff. If is open June 9th. They'll open through June 9th, and they are now administering the J&J one-shot vaccination. If you are a veteran, you need to go to the VA. The VA is handling all veterans' COVID vaccines. And you can also get a vaccination, as we just talked about, CVS and also Kroger Center. If you are a senior citizen and you need some help with COVID vaccinations, you can also go to Get Set Up, and it's a free online portal for seniors to help them set their vaccine appointments. Of course, the Comet bus system is offering free rides to get your COVID vaccination. Don't miss your shot. And you can also get a COVID vaccination at the main location on the corner of Laurel and Sumter Streets. If you or someone you know passed away, or not if you, if someone you know passed away due to COVID, FEMA is offering COVID funeral expenses, reimbursement for COVID funeral expenses. You can see that information on the screen. And Richland County is continuing their bill and housing program. You can get several sources of money if you have been affected by COVID and need to catch up on your rent and also on your bills. SC Housing also has a rental assistance program and a frontline workers home buying program. The Affordable Care Act is open through August. Don't forget that you have got until August 15 to apply and see if you qualify for a subsidy. We heard from Rosalind Goodwin with the South Carolina Hospital Association a couple of weeks ago, and she said, even if you already have your insurance, you may want to go back in and reapply because you could qualify for some additional subsidies. Also, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health launched their SC Hopes hotline for those who need help. Please check that out if you know someone who needs help coping with COVID. And June 1st is the last day to apply for the DSS Seniors Farmers Market. Also, DSS is offering pandemic aid for foster youth. And the Battle of the Badges blood drive is this Friday at Drew Wellness and Richland County Decker Center. There are many needs for blood because of the pandemic. So please make sure you check that out. That's happening tomorrow. Also, the summer feeding program is going on. Lexington 1 is offering a summer feeding program, and it doesn't matter where the child lives. You can see those locations at the bottom of the screen. You can check the website to register if you want your child to participate in that. Also, broadband is available for some folks with low income. If you think you might qualify, please, or even if you don't, you just never know, please follow the link that's on the screen and make sure you see if you and your household qualify for free broadband. Finally, Lark Park is having a block party. That's today. So stop by and check out that block party. You and your family can have fun and have a great time. You're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. We're streaming live on Facebook on the Tailor Made production page. That's the home of Coping with COVID. Would you please go over there and hit like and share and follow? Not only can you get notifications where you can watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the first Monday of the month with legendary comedian George Wallace, but you can also get all of your COVID-related updates. We also are streaming live on YouTube. Would you please go over there and hit the subscribe button? And we also have a presence on Instagram. I'm Tre Tailor. Hey, don't forget to post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses, because this is really a big election this fall. Columbia will choose several city council members and a new mayor. So far, 3 people have thrown their hat into the ring: Tamika Isaac Devine, Sam Johnson, and today we'll talk to Daniel Rickenman. He's a businessman and city council member for District 4. You're a girl dad and a USC alum. Daniel, thank you again so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me, Trey. Excited to be here.
Yeah, listen, so I met you, when you were an owner on Birds on a Wire, Momo's, and Ben and Jerry's. And I have to say, I was so taken to you, and we became, acquaintances, because you really were so open to helping out the Auntie Karen Foundation. People may be familiar with Karen Alexander and the Legends of Concert series. And every year that you owned that business, you afforded us the opportunity to bring the celebrities, bring our guests in there, whether it was high-end Momos or good food, Birds on the Wire. Our folks got fed at no cost to us. So I just really want to shout you out for that, because you didn't have to do it. You could have given us a discount, but you just said, no, you wanted to support. So I'm forever grateful to you for that.
that was, Annie Karen Foundation has been incredible. And, the effect that she's had on kids and making them aware of everything that's available for them and really promoting and, to bring some of these acts to Columbia was unbelievable. And they were all so appreciative to be here,
Yeah.
And I think about some of the people y'all brought over there. And then, of course, got to know you and your son and, always ask about him. I hope he's still doing well.
Thank you.
Conquering the world, I bet.
Yeah, he's out in Vegas doing something. I don't know. And your girls, like I said, your girl dad, Cynthia Watson, says, we love girl dads. Thank you, Cynthia, for watching. So tell us about some of your other business ventures. What are you dibbling and dabbling into now?
So, it's fun. I've spent the last kind of decade in the renewable energy space. So looking at different ways to help communities and businesses get involved. And one of the two places that we're doing a gas recovery project in Georgia that takes gas off a landfill and turns it into energy and puts it back out on the grid. And then we have a project in Charlotte, North Carolina that recycles food waste. So it takes packaged good expired waste, a lot of that material that, we saw abundance before COVID. It's changed a little bit. It's been a little bit reduction because not only because of production, but also consumption. A lot more people were eating at home and not going out as much. So really changed it. So it's been a really fun. And then I got a few little other adventures and ventures I've joined with some people and working with female-owned business down in Charleston, Callie's Biscuits, helping her raise capital to grow. She's at that point where she's no longer a mom and pop business. She is an entity, and it's really growing. So having the opportunity to work with her, and I knew her and her operations manager worked for me at Birds on Wire back in the 90s. So
wow. Yeah. I want to go back to that, the food waste. So what is going to happen with that food waste? I mean, you make such a great point about there was so much food wasted. I did think it was great that many people got an opportunity to get boxes and boxes and boxes of food that helped out folks and helped out the farmers. But tell us a little bit more about that project, because food waste is such a big deal.
It is. It's they were telling me, I met with a bunch of the farmers and they were telling me upwards to 20% of the food that's grown never makes it to the table anymore.
Wow.
Part of it has to do with size and the way it looks. Everything, you go to the grocery store, all the zucchini is exactly the same, so forth. But a lot of this material can be recycled and turned into energy. And it's a simple process that's been around for a long time. But that energy can be either used for transportation fuel, for heating and cooling homes. It can be used for electricity. So it's got a lot of options. It is a much larger deal in Europe than it is here, but it's growing in the U.S. And for us, we have so much waste. And, now that the food's being dated, there's a lot more material being pulled off the shelves. And, an average grocery store probably throws away a ton of food a week. And all of that could be used for energy. And it's an alternative. It's not the silver bullet to get us away from fossil fuels, but it's an opportunity to do something with a waste product.
That's a great idea. Who would have thought cucumber gas, That is great. We're talking to Daniel Rickenman. He is a Columbia, South Carolina city council member and candidate for mayor of the city of Columbia. So you were elected to council in 2004. You decided not to run after a couple of years, and then, in 2021, and then you ran again in 2017. So what was going on? Why did you decide not to run and then decide to run again?
Oh, it's funny. I kind of put a self-imposed term limit. I said, two terms at city council, 8 years, let somebody else in here continue good ideas and energy. And I left for about 5 years. And then unfortunately, Leona Plow passed away from fighting her cancer. And a lot of people in that district where I live just were like, please go fill that seat. And so I did. And then the next round came up and nobody filed against me. So I got sentenced to another 4 years. But I was kind of in this debate at this point of, do I run? I don't think I'm going to run again. But if I do, I'm going to run for mayor, because I do think that the mayor, has the bully pulpit. It is the leader. And folks not only in the city but surrounding areas follow the lead of the city. And I think it's a great opportunity. We're kind of at that moment, that turning point. We're coming off a 3-year term of Mayor Benjamin, who had a whole outlook and created some great opportunities for folks here. But I think we're at that stage where somebody who's a little more business experienced and understands the small business, what they go through, and has just a different perspective, it's time to bring them to the table and utilize those skills. I always say, when you have to write your sign the front of the check, you understand what it takes to make sure that check gets there, and it's not always just about signing the back of it.
Yeah.
But really being able to have an opportunity to affect change in Columbia. We're kind of in the crossroads of the pandemic, exposed us like we've never seen before. I mean, this has been a recession-proof community for years and years, and pandemic basically, shut down our hospitality industry, which, obviously I have a passion and a history for. But it also, we've never had an opportunity here where we've had state government, local government, and the university shut down. So it had a real economic effect on our small businesses, which is the majority of the people who are here day in, day out, providing the services and the needs for us.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more later about why you chose and decided to run for mayor, but I want to ask you about some of your highlights representing District 4. What were some of the things that you wanted to achieve and accomplish and you did or didn't?
Well, I think, District 4 is a very interesting district. They're very concerned about basic services and making sure that, our infrastructure, our services that they feel we need to supply, from, safety. Obviously, I don't care what neighborhood, if it's District 1, District 2, 3, or 4, public safety and infrastructure are the key that everybody wants. Everybody wants to feel safe in their home, in their neighborhood, and they want to know that we're putting the resources behind to do that. And then obviously, between roads and everything else, so we're constantly battling those issues and making strides and changes. I don't know if that I would find one thing that I would point to, because I've been involved in so many different things. I kind of find myself in the middle of the big ones and constantly trying to sort it out and come up with something good, because if both sides go away unhappy, then we've accomplished something.
Yeah. We're talking to Daniel Rickenman. He is City Council District 4 and running for the mayor of Columbia. So what skills and talents do you have to do the job? I know you mentioned that you feel like your business background is one strong quality that you have to move the city forward. What are some other things, Daniel?
I do. I think, being in business here for a long time, I've created a great network. But that network stretches not only to other business owners, but to neighborhood folks. And being an at-large member for 2 terms and then being back in council, I had an opportunity to be all over the city and create great relationships with folks. So understanding that, the folks in 29203 have certain needs and things that we need to continue to do. I mean, you look at the investment that's going on in North Main and continue to grow that. That's going to be important. We can't forget where everything is from District 3 that encompasses the university. How do we continue that relationship with the university and really get them to be our economic engine? Take advantage of, we got 2 historical Black colleges here that have been here for close to 100 years, if not more, on both of them. We have Columbia College, we've got the seminary, we've got Columbia. We have 55,000 students, and that's a selling point. And I think the ability to also be able to reach out and meet with people, getting investment here is so important, because what I'm hearing from people is they just don't want jobs. They don't want construction jobs or one-time jobs. They want jobs with opportunity. And so recruiting those businesses that are going to grow here and provide advancement, I think, is the key. And then we have a whole industry, as we mentioned, of the construction folks who need to be doing business in town.
Right.
It's been a while since we've had a tower crane and other things. So how do we do that? How do we simplify the process to make it easy? So it doesn't matter if you're opening a barber shop in 1,500 square feet, or you're building a 100,000 square foot building. The process should be simple and easy, and that's kind of the goal here.
Daniel Rickenman joins us today on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. He's running to be mayor of the city of Columbia. Deborah Abraham wants to know, Daniel, where's your district? Do you service 29209?
I do service 29209. That's part of, well, I should say I service part of it. About 4 years ago, they switched and gave some of it depending on where you live. If you tell me, Deborah, what color you're, if you tell me, send me a message and I'll be glad to touch base with you and try to help you out.
Yeah, we can put his information up on the screen also, Deborah. We've got his phone number, his email address, his website. If you want to, if you want to talk to him, she said, you also have many more white colleges in Columbia. Well, I think we've got the same. I think we've got, well, I guess, listen, I guess you would, HBCU's Benedict Allen. I guess if you think the white college is USC, but USC has a large demographic of African Americans, and Columbia, CIU, Columbia International, Columbia College. I don't know. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much for your comment. Please continue to post and share this information out. We've got a big election coming up in November for the mayor of the city of Columbia, and Daniel Rickenman is one of those candidates. We're talking to him about why he wants to be mayor. So why do you want to be mayor, Daniel?
Well, I mean, really, I just, I feel like I love Columbia and I always have. And I've been focused on local politics since I've been here in business. I started my first business in 1994 here. And, when I came to Columbia, I never planned to live here longer than 4 years when I was at the university. And that's 33 years ago. I met my wife. I've raised my 2 daughters here. And, I really want Columbia to have a real opportunity to continue to grow. We've got a great basis, but I want it to thrive. And I want my girls to go experience the world like your son is out in Vegas and experience. But, when they get ready to start a family, I want them to be able to come back to Columbia, but not sacrifice the career that they did. I think that's important. I look across and, we talked about public safety is such a key. We've talked about helping the small businesses grow, get through the red tape, but, affordable housing, workforce housing is a real need to keep jobs downtown. We need to make it easy for people to live downtown, affordable. That's part of being safe.
Yeah,
is part of that. So that's a real key that we got to focus. And, there's lots of different opportunities. I think engaging with the folks, not only taking the best talent we have, but how do we keep that talent here? How do we make the students feel welcome and say, hey, this is where I want to root? Well, that also has to go with investment. We got to have the jobs that come here. We got to continue to get that businesses coming in. With the world changing right now, everybody's looking, businesses are looking to move, people are looking to move. So how do we get them to move here and invest in our community? Well, we got to make it easy. And then obviously, property tax structure is something we have to work on because, for non-owner occupied, we are so unbalanced across the state against Charleston and Greenville. Greenville's 38% cheaper or less expensive on taxes, and Charleston's 48. All of these things are fixable, but they affect affordable housing. They affect people opening small businesses. They affect air property or investment property or businesses looking to locate here. We're constantly, for these big businesses, having to do multi-county industrial park tax abatement, fees in lieu. But we're not able to do that for the smaller guys. So we need to change the structure so that everybody's on the level playing field. I want people to be able to open up a small restaurant or a barber shop or a retail store. And, at the end of the year when they have to reconcile with their landlord, hopefully not get, have they get that big tax bill. But we got to finish a lot of projects too. I mean, we have to finish Bull Street. We still have an investment there. Finley Park, huge investment. The canal, we have to finish that. The alternative water source, streetscapes. I mean, the potholes that we have in the water leaks that I constantly hear about from people. Not only do we need to fix them, but we need to keep them maintained. And I think that's an opportunity for us to grow a bunch of small businesses. Why does the city have to do all that? Why don't we farm out a lot of that? And that plays into the clean and safe and appearance because, right now you go around, you want I would like to see every neighborhood look the same. I would love to walk in and every street be clean, every sidewalk fixed, all the grass cut, the curbs painted, the streets fixed, so that it didn't matter where you are in Columbia, we put our best foot forward. And you see the results of that. I mean, you look at the streetscape on North Main and the investment in there now, that should spider web everywhere.
Right,
So,
right.
When I continue to look at that, just continuing to streamline the services, we need to get back to some of the basics and invest in the city and its services so that we can provide everything. People expect us to take care of the infrastructure. They expect us to take care of the trash, the trees, the streets, everything. And so we got to make sure that we have those resources. And then, of course, as one of your sponsors, the OBO, we need to make sure that we're giving them the ability to expand and grow and help those businesses. We need to do everything we can to encourage business growth because that makes a business community healthy, that makes our neighborhoods healthy, it gives opportunities, and it shows people that we're business friendly, so they see our quality of life, they know that we're in a great metropolitan area, and they want to come and root here.
Yeah, we're talking to Daniel Rickenman. He is a candidate for Columbia mayor, the city of Columbia mayor. You can see his information there on the screen. Deborah Abraham, I see your questions. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to ask all of those questions to Daniel. But before we go, I know that you did a poll on your website, and we've got the website right there, Daniel Rickenman for mayor. And you asked people to tell you the most important things that they'd like you to focus on if you became mayor of Columbia. What are people saying, Daniel?
It's interesting. If you rank them, it almost goes back to what we keep hearing is public safety, public investment, the basic services are very important, affordable housing, and job creation. Those seem to be the top four that come around everywhere and continue to really resonate that, hey, this is very important for people and they're looking to the future and they want to make sure that we have a great future, not only for themselves, but for their kids and their grandkids.
Wow. We're talking to Daniel Rickenman on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. When we come back, we are going to find out what Daniel's priorities are as a mayor and what he wants to accomplish. Plus, Deborah Abraham has a couple of questions. Cynthia Watson wants to tell you something about Cali. And we're going to talk about all of that and more coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Don't forget to post and share this out.
COVID. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by SCDHEC. Visit scdhec.gov for an updated list of testing and vaccination sites and info to help protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together, SC and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Visit columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, visit Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. The Comet Bus System, a fast, fun, friendly transit system that can take you anywhere you want to go in the Midlands. So don't miss your shot. Catch the Comet and get a free ride to get your COVID vaccine. Visit catchthecomet.gov. Javis Tax Services, South Carolina's premier full-service financial provider with over 20 years of experience. Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. And Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Call Daniel for honest, professional, reliable, and knowledgeable computer sales and service. Coping with COVID from SCDHEC. In it together, the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Services, the Comet Bus System, Palmetto Media Connections, Javis Financial Services, and Computers Unique.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
When it's time for you, I have all anything, money, Visit Davis Tax Service today, 803-419-1001.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
Comet's always going to be there and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comet is our livelihood.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
How will you remember the year 2020?
COVID.
Losing my job.
Working 12-hour shifts in a mask.
Losing my grandma to COVID.
COVID has claimed thousands in South Carolina and strained our health system, schools, businesses, and families. If you're struggling and need to talk, call SC Hopes. That free call can help put you in touch with people who can help. This goes for healthcare workers, teachers, restaurant employees, parents, anyone and everyone. SC Hopes. Mental health and addiction support for challenging times.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul Cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or Tailor Made Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style Cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Thank you so much for joining us for Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor. I want to remind you to please post and share this program out so we can get the message to the masses, because we have a very important election coming up in November for the city of Columbia. We are going to elect a new mayor. We've talked to Tamika Isaac Devine, Sam Johnson. Daniel Rickenman joins us now. He is the other candidate for mayor of the city of Columbia. I want to go to Deborah Abraham, has many questions, Daniel. And I want to start with the one that probably could hit the jugular vein. She says that she's never seen you in a community of color. She says it takes a village. What do you, and you say what? And maybe, Deborah, you didn't hear what I said at the beginning, because I said something about that in the beginning. Well, go ahead, Daniel.
Well, I would say when I was an at-large member, obviously I was all over the city, but with being in District 4, but I'm pretty much involved in every decision that happens at City Council and well aware of what goes on in every community. I just actually was yesterday in 29203 meeting with several different folks. And as the campaign goes, I'll be going back and seeing my old friends around the city, and you'll see more. But I think my relationships in the especially in the African American community are strong. I've been around a long time. A lot of people know me, and so they also know that my door's always open. My table's always set for an extra guest. So, Deborah, let's get together and have lunch and talk.
Ah, that's great. Thank you, Deborah. She also wants to know how you feel about masks and social distancing. She's got a bunch of questions.
I think we're at the stage now. If you're vaccinated, the mask is away, and everybody needs to be careful. Look, the reality is that if you're a person who is receptive to any type or an elderly person who's got other issues, you got to be careful. We have to continue to work together. But, we've been over 35 days now, under 4% across the state. Richland County and the city have been very good. So we're kind of at that stage when we go over. I have noticed since the ban has kind of gone away that several businesses still are requiring it, just like shoes, shirts, no service kind of thing that people are out there. I think it's individual choices. I still wear it when I go to the grocery store out of respect for other people who may not feel comfortable yet. But I think we're continuing to move forward. We first brought it up. I didn't vote for it the first time because we didn't really have a plan together. But then I supported it because we had a good plan after that moving forward. And I think we've kind of over that hump. I think social distance is one of those things that people have to just figure out themselves. I mean, unfortunately, if you look at the numbers from DHEC, the majority of the cases that came in South Carolina were generated in the households, not in the public. So the public sector had done their job when they're out, but we weren't doing it at home. We were too comfortable. So that's something we got to work on. I think the real key right now is making sure people get vaccinated. The mayor and Ms. Devine and all of council has agreed we really got to get door to door and get people and let them know it's okay to get the vaccination. And if they can't get there, let us get it to you, because that's going to be the key for the future.
Yeah, Daniel Rickenman joins us. He is candidate for mayor of the city of Columbia. Deborah Abraham has a couple of more questions, Daniel. I'm going to ask this one, and then I'm going to go to something else and then come back with the rest of her questions. She wants to know how you feel about folks with disabilities and special needs.
I guess I wish I knew a little bit more what
she's asking.
Yeah, what she's asking. But I tell you, growing up as a kid with a learning disability in a time period in the 70s and 80s when people really didn't know what it was, I totally understand what it feels like. My mother, a single mom at the time because my father passed away, did everything she could to get me into the right programs and the schools so that I'd have a fighting chance. And I never can repay that, but I do totally understand. I think at the end of the day, I think Columbia as a community has done tremendous job making sure it takes care of our folks. I don't care if it's the homeless, folks with disabilities, special needs. Can we always improve? Absolutely. Are all our buildings and everything where they need to be accessible? No. And we got to continue to improve that. I think the programs that are out there continue to get enhanced. We have a lot of partners in the city that provide the various services, and part of it is making sure we get people to where they can get the best help for their needs. But I do think it's something that we cannot forget about. And, I remember years ago in District 4 when there wasn't a sidewalk going from a retirement home with lots of folks with walkers and everything else for them to get to the store. And we made that happen by making sure that sidewalk got installed and wasn't caught up in the system. So I think we got to continue to do better. We're not perfect yet. But, I do think that we as a community, and I say we because it's not really a city, it's a community, but we're here to help and support.
Yeah. Daniel Rickenman joins us on Coping with COVID. He is running to be mayor of the city of Columbia. He is currently a council member for District 5 here in Columbia. Daniel, I want to go 4. I'm sorry, 4.
We don't have 5 that I know of.
This is your website, the Rickenman for Mayor website. And there are a couple of things that you say are some of the things you really want to focus on. You've talked about some of them. And I want to outline a couple of things. Public safety. Policing is a big issue right now, not only in our city and our state, but in our country. What is it that you want public safety and policing to move towards? What's the best scenario for you?
Well, I think 2 things. I think the one thing we know that in every community, everybody wants to feel safe in their community. I know there was a lot of discussion about defunding the police and everything, but we have a great police chief and great command staff here, and I stand behind them every day. They do a great job. They've been progressive. They put away several, they've changed a lot of the chokeholds, no knocks. All of those things were done before people brought them to the city. And that's our police chief, our police department thinking what's best for the community. In an ideal world, Trey, I really want a better relationship in our communities with our officers. I want people from the community to apply and be an officer, and let's put them in that community to help build that relationship, because I do think that's a place. I mean, you look at the gunfire and the things that we have, and we know who that is, but we don't have we got to increase that relationship and build up that trust, because I think over time that will benefit all residents.
Right, right. Also on the website, you talk about supporting small business owners. You talked a little bit about that because you are a business owner, and you said something that I thought was important, that that's one of the things you feel you bring to this race is that you have owned and, multiple businesses. So what do you think business owners need in Columbia? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, when you've been an owner and you've gone through the process, if it's permitting, business license, zoning changes and all, you understand how it can really be inhibitive to a business. We have a sewer expansion fee right now that really punishes small businesses. So if you're a small guy, let's say you have a 1,500 square foot space and you want to open up a deli, well, you got to get an expansion fee, which is upwards of $20,000 to $30,000. You got to put in a grease trap that could be 20, 30. The entry suddenly gets to 75,000 or more before you even start building. And so we need to look at how do we take that out of the way and grow these businesses and encourage them to invest here and start. How do we get those hurdles out of their way? And having been through it and totally understanding it, I'm a true believer that when you've had the sleepless nights about making sure you take care of your employees and their payroll first and foremost before you get paid, you look at things a little differently. Yeah. And I think that's an asset today.
Yeah. A couple of other things that you mentioned on the website: build better and more affordable housing. You talked about that. You talked about, in the case of your own daughters, creating job opportunities that promise advancement. This is something I want you to expound on a little bit more, because you kind of touched the surface on generating growth by finishing projects. And you specifically talk about Finley Park, who Deborah mentioned, is an area oftentimes frequented by the homeless, the Bull Street District, and the Columbia Canal Diversion Dam. You said that they've been left incomplete and unfinished. What and how does completing them need to happen?
Well, it's important, for us. There's always new projects on the horizon, and they all sound great, but we really got to finish what we have. And I think it's important. Now, Finley Park is our crown jewel, and right now, I don't know a family that will go down there with their children. Right. It needs to be totally overhauled. We need to be able to make that investment, and we need to be able to maintain it. And that's going to be important. For whatever we do, we have the ability to maintain it and take care of it. We got to take the ownership of it, because now that downtown has grown, to center. So then you look at, jobs, which is another key. As I mentioned earlier, as you talked about the survey, that's what people want. They say, look, I want jobs with advancement. I want opportunities to grow in the position so that I don't have to move or leave where I want to live. And I want Columbia to be my home. But it's also a way to attract and keep talent here. We've got an incredible city. And it can be better. We've got this great basis. Let's build on it. Let's go from surviving to thriving. And I think there's great ways to do that, not only by attracting business, but we got to fix the tax structure and the business. But we also got to make sure that those businesses that we're reaching are really hiring within, that they are taking advantage of the talent that we have here in this town.
Yeah. Daniel Rickenman joins us on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Daniel is running to be mayor of the city of Columbia. He is currently a city council member. Daniel, talk a little bit about the homeless population. That was one of Deborah's questions. And you talked a lot about Finley Park. A lot of the reason why families don't go down there is because of the homeless population. What do you see? And Oliver Gospel Mission and Transitions, we've got entities in place that are doing amazing jobs. What else needs to happen?
They are. And I think, one of the things that we've seen over the last 18 months is that we have chronic homeless that has really grown. I think at one point there, the number was somewhere around 350, and I think they're estimating well over 550 now. And so the chronic homeless is the folks that you tentatively see downtown moving from source to source, but not really having a place. It's a really hard challenge because we've got folks who don't want to abide by rules. Some folks who just they just want to do what they want to do and how they want to do it. And so it's really a tough battle how we deal with those folks. And I think service-wise, we have 67 providers in Columbia that provide some type of service to the homeless. meals 3 days a week, 7 days a week. The infrastructure is here. How do we get people to really take advantage of everything that's available to them? And obviously, it's interesting because when you talk to folks, they want us to take care of people who are from Columbia first and foremost, and help people who aren't from here get back to where their families are and this and that. And I think that's where we got to focus, because I think we're seeing that there's a lot of folks that are not from Columbia or Richland County now coming here because we have such great services, but we need to make sure that we can help them get to their family and let their family help them as we help those locally. It's a tough situation. There's no great answer.
Yeah.
But it's, at the end of the day, we have to address it because it is affecting people's quality of life. It's not fair for those folks who live downtown to wake up and find people sleeping in their bushes or defecating and this and that. That behavior is not acceptable. There's different programs out there that have worked. The Housing First program here has worked great. Mercy has done a great job. Obviously, you mentioned Oliver Gospel and Transitions. They're doing everything that they can, but they can't force people to join their programs. But maybe there's other ways that we can do things. Maybe we can employ people to help clean up so that they feel a sense of community pride, and maybe then we'll join one of these programs. I wish there was this great answer that, hey, we can fix it all, but there's not. There's just really every community across the country is dealing with it. I don't care if you're in Charleston, San Francisco, LA, or Marion, people are dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is with the homeless population, a lot of those people, it's not even, it's another situation. It's mental health. There are mental health issues there.
I think, we as a state, a federal government, as citizens have failed. We have not continued to fund the needs that they need. And you're exactly right, because, we have several chronic homeless folks that are in and out, and they get committed in 24 hours, they're back out. The system is not set up to handle and provide them with the needs. And so we're really going to have to tackle this issue. And maybe it's in a tougher stance, and I think sitting down with all the providers, sitting down with the folks who really understand the United Way, and Travis, who I've talked to at Oliver Gospel, who's busting at the seams and trying different things between building the coffee shop and other things to draw people in to purpose and help. But, he'd like to have a bigger location somewhere, but there's nowhere for him to go. So, we're kind of in the corner, but we'll have to address it.
Yeah, it's another thing before we wrap up that you mentioned on the website that you want to help improve city government. What does that mean exactly?
I want to give our employees the autonomy and the ability to deal with the citizens like they would if it was their retail store or their customer. That the ordinances or different resolutions or laws that keep them from providing the service that needs to do. I want to give our staff the training and the ability to serve. Number one complaint I get is water customers, and those people who are answering the phone, who are working with somebody, should be able to solve that person's problem. We ought to give them the autonomy to make a decision, because it's not a black and white decision. Unfortunately, it is. Everybody's situation's different. Their needs are different, and we've got to learn how to make a common sense decision to allow those people to solve somebody's problem, because when it gets continually put off and people don't get phone calls or they can't get something addressed, they get frustrated.
Yeah.
And I think we have a great staff. We just got to give them the ability to do their job with all the needs that they need. If it's training, if it's, as I mentioned, changing ordinances so that they can make decisions at the staff level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Christy Savage has a question. Daniel, this is going to be the last question. Hey, Christy, thank you so much for joining us. She wants to know how you will enhance neighborhoods to include making apartment communities safer. Thanks for your question, Christy.
Thanks, Christy. Glad to know you're on here. I've known Christy for a long time and worked on several projects with her. She's a great neighborhood leader and
she is.
a model citizen. Enhancing neighborhoods is important, and part of that is clean and safe. And if you look at that, if you look at the infrastructure investment, the clean and safe, making sure that everybody has access to everything, that enhancing our parks, enhancing the streets, beautification, keeping things clean, and then also continuing to have that relationship with each and every apartment complex owner. We're here to help. We want to help you have the best safe area. And I think Christy and a lot of people in their neighborhood have spent a lot of time working with the different Sam Davis. We were bunch of council members were over visiting an area in North Main the other day where they did a voluntary program and got the residents talking to each other and working together, but looking out for each other. And so we got to remember that we're one Columbia. We are a community. And we gotta talk together. And I think creating opportunities for us to have more dialogue, like I said, my door's always open and my kitchen table's always set. Meet and eats is something that you're going to see a lot from me, not only through the campaign, but in the future, where I'm going to go out and invite people to eat and sit down and break bread, because I found that, and my grandmother used to say this, that you can solve any problem around food. And so we need to do more of that.
Yeah, meet and eats with Daniel Rickenman. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your vision and your thoughts and your desires for the city of Columbia. So if by chance you do not win the race in November, who are you, or do you have your eye on anyone to replace you in District 4?
Well, so Joe Tailor, who has announced a District 4, and I'm supporting Joe Tailor. He's not only been a lifelong friend, but his economic experience from being in the commerce really helps the city and fills a void there that will really help us in recruiting. He understands what businesses are looking for and how to get them here and be part of the community and deliver those jobs that have advancement. So I'm supporting Joe. I hope he's successful. Win or lose the mayors, I'm not going anywhere. My family lives here. I love this town, but I think we have a great opportunity. I mean, this is probably the most important election that I think Columbia has seen in a long time, because I've been here 33 years and I don't know ever that 4 seats were up for election. So people need to be engaged. This is very important.
Yeah, you're right. It is very important. So you say if you're not going to go away, so if you don't become mayor, of course, you won't be representing District 4 in that capacity. What do you do next? What's your next move?
My next move really is to focus on business in my community, continue to be active.
Okay.
I was pretty active in between. When I left the first time, I just didn't go away and hide. I don't plan to do that way. I love this town. I'm not worried about national politics or state politics. I'm worried about what happens here locally. It affects me, my family, my business. All my investments are here. So I want to make sure that I'm here to watch over and be involved.
Any final words you want to say about your candidacy? Why people should vote for you?
Well, I'll be honest. I really hope people go out and vote. We've had low turnout for so long. I just think it's very important. And I think we're at a stage where it's time for a change. For 5 decades, we've had attorneys as the mayor. Maybe it's time for a business guy to step into place. So vote for me. I hope you'll entrust me with your city. And if you'd like to get together, call me. I'm here. Email me. Look forward to meeting and talking with all of you.
All right, Daniel Rickenman for mayor of City of Columbia. You see his information on the screen. That's his website. You also see on the screen, he says, give him a call, talk to him, and find out more about Daniel Rickenman. He's running to be mayor of the City of Columbia. Daniel, thank you again so much for joining us today and for sharing your thoughts, your dreams, your vision, and your heart for Columbia. I appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you for having me on. Always glad to be on the Tre Tailor Show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Listen, continue to post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses. A big election, as Daniel said, in November, and you have to be informed and educated so that you can make the right decision. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, would you please go over to the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook and inbox me? We would love to feature your story or initiative on coping with COVID. Do you have a product or service that can help someone cope with COVID? Please email copingwithtreitailor@gmail.com. The email address is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor of Coping with COVID, just like all of our sponsors, SCDHEC, In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina. Also, Palmetto Media Connections is one of our sponsors. Our sponsors also include the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, the Comet Bus System, Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, Agape Counseling and Training Services, and also Javis Tax Services, celebrating 20 years of providing financial services to South Carolina. Now, coming up tomorrow on Faith Friday, there is a need for foster families, and we're going to talk with the folks at DSS to tell you what you need to do if you're interested in being a foster family. Plus, we're going to get a COVID-19 update from Dr. Helmut Alberg. He is an infectious disease physician here in South Carolina, and he has been with us several times. I know if you heard that there has been a COVID variant detected in South Carolina. Of course, Moderna says now they have a vaccine for kids 12 and over. And also, we're coming up on another big holiday weekend, maskless at that. So how is that going to play into the situation? Join us tomorrow on Coping with COVID. As usual, I leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. It is Thursday, May 27th, and today Jesus says, "Seek my face at the beginning of the day." This practice enables you to put me on and wear me throughout the day. Most people put on clothes soon after arising from bed. Similarly, the sooner you put me on by communicating with me, the better prepared you are for whatever comes your way. To wear me is essentially to have my mind, to think my thoughts. Ask the Holy Spirit to control your thinking. Be transformed by this renewal within you. Thus, you are well equipped to face whatever people and situations that are brought your way. Clothing your mind in me, Jesus says, is your best preparation for each day. This discipline brings joy and peace to you and more importantly, to those around you. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. Until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Be careful, stay safe, get your vaccine, and wear your mask. I think you should still wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. See you tomorrow.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. Brought to you by SCDHEC. Visit scdhec.gov for testing and vaccination sites. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In It Together SC and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council presenting Wellness Wednesday every week on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Agape Counseling and Training Services. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, visit Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. The Comet Bus System, offering free rides to get your COVID vaccine. Don't miss your shot. Visit catchthecomet.gov. Javis Financial Services, with over 20 years of experience. Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Honest, professional, reliable computer sales and service. Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID from SCDHEC. In It Together SC, the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Services, the Comet Bus System, Javis Financial Services, Computers Unique, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.